Hi, hello, and welcome to the Sports Exchange. My name is Carole Beckford. Today we'll be talking about streaming, 876 Stream. I know our friends in the Caribbean, think we're focusing a little bit too much on Jamaica, but it's where a lot of the action is. We're coming up to a really exciting summer of sports, and World Cup football for the women. Haiti and Jamaica will be going. Then there's World Cup netball. Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, and Jamaica will be going to Cape Town, and then there's the World Track and Field Championships, and of course the Gold Cup in football and so on. Today we have on our program a young gentleman who has pioneered his way into the business of streaming on television and on all the platforms. His name is Alexander Taylor, and he's from 876 Stream. Alex, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Carol, for having me.
All right, so streaming. We're in the digital age. How has it been in terms of for the last 6 years since you've been in business?
Well, it's been great knowing that there's always been an opportunity to bridge the gap between sport and corporate, and sport and sporting fans. Mm-hmm. So where we saw an opportunity to bring the appetite towards certain sports back to Jamaica and in the Caribbean, that's what Stream was predicated on. Mm-hmm. So what we had done and why it's been so enjoyable is there is a great example of how media affects sports in the great countries, England, Brazil, and how the media plays a part in the appetite to the sport or towards the sport. Mm-hmm. And we saw that and said, that's a great case study to bring back to Jamaica, and have a symbiotic relationship with the sport. We believe that there is a blueprint of success for Jamaican sport. Mm-hmm. 98 World Cup and many different accolades in track and field and in the Caribbean as well. So what we want to do is take that blueprint and apply the media aspect to it, mm-hmm. for them to grow in parallel. So that's where we are. So
what is your market like? Give me a breakdown of probably the people you appeal to or who have been following, because you have quite a bit of followers, 50,000 followers across your platforms.
Right. So we have about 3 or 4 different target audiences. So you have the sports fans themselves who want the information. Mm-hmm. You have and that's how we appeal to them through our content. You have corporate Jamaica who wants to be a part of the sporting excellence of Jamaica and the Caribbean, and they want to associate with different sports in Jamaica. So we help brands find the niche or the traditional, non-traditional sports to connect them. We target federations as well, mm-hmm. Who want to develop their sport but don't necessarily have the eyes on it. So what we do is through our content, we bring the audience to them, and that then attracts the corporate interests. Mm-hmm. So about those 3 markets, we would say we're in. The regular sports fans who love sport, want to see sport, interact with sport, argue about sports.
Oh yeah.
We have a team specifically for that.
For that, yes.
Then we have a team dedicated on developing sport for federations that are non-traditional and improving the development of traditional sports.
Give me an example of some of the sporting federations you've done work for.
Well, we work with, one recent one is the Jamaica Badminton Association. They hosted the Pan Am Games a couple of weeks ago. It was a very big, monumentous event. I think it was at GC Foster.
Right, yeah.
Where, some of the top badminton players around the world came to Jamaica, and it was a great event. So that's one we worked on. We consider that a success as well. Hockey Jamaica, Lacrosse Association. We consider, we have, of course, the Jamaica basketball as well. We sell their jerseys on our website.
Merchandise is a whole different.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
Yeah, different conversation, right?
Netball Jamaica. So there are many of them. Mm-hmm. So what we've done, and we've built a very good relationship with these federations because they appreciate the attention that we bring to those sports, and it helps the development of their sport.
Give me an average day for you guys. So tournament is coming. It's at GC Foster for 1 week. Tell us how you prepare for coverage.
Oh wow. Well, it's hectic, but it's organized. So we do a lot of research beforehand. We anticipate the top names that are going to be mentioned. We have preparation meetings on what kind of content is going to bring the right kind of awareness and conversation around the event. So that's before, pre, and then during the event we have different creative ways to cover the event, interview the necessary people. We look at the history of performance and anticipate that something might happen and work ahead of time.
Right.
And that's what normally makes us different, because we're normally always there to catch the big moment. But that takes monumentous research prior to the event.
What makes a fan would want to log on to 86 Stream as opposed to traditional television or even radio?
Well, I often say that we don't necessarily try to compete, but to complement, because it's a sporting product, and our mission at Stream is to collectively improve the appetite for Jamaican sport and hence develop it. So if we push other organizations to do that, or if we lead the charge, it achieves the same thing. What we try to do at Stream is to bring a sense of authentic, real, behind the scenes and foreground journalism and marketing, so that people can see sport in its true sense.
Right. You use the word journalism because there's some thought that the people who are on social media are not real journalists. How does that figure into your, when you make presentations to corporate entities? How do they treat you any different, or how do you prove to them that you're really the real deal?
Well, I would say the proof is in the pudding. We try not to sell. What we try to do is have conversations, and how we approach conversations with brands in corporate Jamaica is, what is your challenge, and then how best can we solve that problem through the platform that we have. So we necessarily consult corporate. So we say, all right, if you want to have an impact, if that's in your mission, we recommend you go through this sport, and we recommend you do it through this channel. And then we would have an audience for that sport and that channel already prepared. And how brands know about us, they typically we're referred to, or they see a content that's gone viral, and so who did that? Stream. Let's contact them, and then I'll follow through. So that's kind of how we build relationships with corporate.
That's an interesting concept because, of course, I've been an advocate for sport for as long as I can remember. And the thing is, the discipline and the commitment that's associated with the performance side, but just also how organized the competitions are some of the things that you can channel. All right, you said you are a bridge between corporate Jamaica and the sport. What are some of the creative things that you have done? Give me some examples of, treatments that you have given to outside of just coverage.
Well, the coverage is the broad heading.
Right.
From you see it, it's covered. Right. How you see it now is the creative way, is the creative is the platform. I think what the thing I can go back to is World Cup, when we did the amazing World Cup, by the way, in Qatar, where we had a show with Simon Preston, and we had different guests come on from all walks of life. People who don't know anything about football to football enthusiasts.
Yes.
And that took off for us. We had what we had done, I think it was the first time we've been doing it, is watch-alongs, where you'd have the craziest of personalities watching the game and reacting to a goal or a penalty, whatever. And I think that took off because people could see themselves in the content. And I think that in and of itself was creative in terms of how we are aligning with what predicated stream on what we do, which is authentic content. So seeing someone react to content.
Oh yeah. That's how you can't
Creates a reaction.
You can't go wrong with that. Yeah.
Right.
And this last World Cup, where Messi, I have no horse in the race. Let me be very clear.
You do, Carole, but
No. Not for World Cup. I support Liverpool as a club team.
Okay.
Right, but not for country unless Jamaica.
Okay.
I'm hoping Jamaica gets back.
Right.
But when you see fans responding, especially the ones who are there for the football and the ones who aren't, it really strings.
Yes,
So what were some of the impressions like? I see you reported over 65 million impressions for the World Cup. That's unbelievable.
Right. So that was 2018 when we worked through Television Jamaica. We were managing their pages at the time, and in fact, the content was so good. The Brazil national team retweeted one of our videos. I think it was a time where Brazil was playing, I don't remember, it was in the quarterfinals. And Neymar had dropped and he was rolling, and everybody, it was a video, I think it was at Devon House, of everybody rolling on the ground. And so that blew up, and then the Brazil national team retweeted it and said, thanks for your support, Jamaica. So that was a very big, if the Brazil national team is retweeting your content,
I know.
Then that's something to be proud of.
Yeah. Since you started, what are some of the other major events you've covered? So you did World Cup. What else are some of the other things?
Boys and Girls Champs is our marquee event. We take that to heart. I think we've been covering it since. So I can't even remember how long we've been covering it. Since Grace has been sponsoring it, we've been covering it. And we try to do something creative each year. We have some academies that we cover as well, like Ballers Academy in New York. That's spearheaded by Andre Virtue, former River Boys. So we cover that. We do local events, Gold Cup. We've been to Gold Cup already. We sent Simon Preston there too already. Reggae Girls World Cup in 2019, I believe.
Yeah, when they went to France.
Right.
Yeah.
We covered it locally. Through Television Jamaica. In fact, that got more impressions than the 2018 World Cup.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Women's football, very popular, eh?
Yes, it is actually.
Tell me a little bit about that. A good segue into that conversation, because people expect the standard male sport or male-dominated side to do better, but we have seen globally where women's sports figures have been improving. How has it been for you guys?
You're absolutely right, Carole. And what I would say, and I can say confidently, the women's sports that we have covered has given us probably more traction than men's sports. And why I say that is because the success to impact ratio. So the women's sports that we cover have been more likely to be successful than the male sports that we cover. And we measure success by the expectation that we set for them. So we expect netballers to reach World Cup. They meet that expectation. We expect Reggae Girls to go to World Cup. They meet that expectation. So we have certain expectations for women's sports. They meet them. Versus it's more of a speculative conversation for men's sports.
For men's sports, yeah.
Are we going to get a medal after a 100-meter medal after Usain Bolt? Are we going to make World Cup? Is Tara's going to win a title? Those speculative conversations happen with men's sports.
That's an interesting concept. So although the men's sports naturally are more dominant, for Jamaica in particular, it's always a touch and go. Are they going to win today?
Yeah, exactly.
Or they win today and then they break your heart tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's that back and forth that creates the conversations and the content, and we create the content based on that. So,
Nice turn that was from Warner Brown.
Bring
home the happiness. Bring home the Delect goodness. Delect full of deliciousness. Make every meal delicious with Delect. From pasta happiness to happiness and dumpling. When last you add some happiness to your rice and peas? Delicious food makes you happy, and that's what Delect promises you. Bring home the happiness. Bring home the Delect goodness. Your recipe for happiness.
Burrito's flagship location in New Kingston is at 15 St. Lucia Way. Mark Gilzine and his team are dedicated to creating your ideal game plan to revolutionize your relationship with money. We are proud of our many wins, which include bolstering our capital base to be among the strongest in the industry and facilitating the purchase of 3 U.S. companies by a Jamaican firm. We're 45 years and going strong, changing the game and moving the financial revolution forward.
All right, so if you just joined us, you're listening to Alex Taylor from 876 Stream. It's a streaming platform that covers just about every sport. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about lacrosse. That's coming up in San Diego, where the Jamaican team will be going. And then they'll be hosting an event in Jamaica in November. What are your expectations from lacrosse? Now, or tell me a little bit about the sport, or tell the viewers a little bit about lacrosse.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. Simon taught me the sport the other day.
Yes.
He taught me the sport. But yeah, lacrosse. One of our members, Jamal Tucker, has a very good relationship with the president, and we got our way through there. We know that lacrosse is one of those sports that not many Jamaicans know about. So what we want to do and what we're doing is, especially with a lot of the non-traditional sports, we educate first before we try to build an appetite for the sport. And I think if Jamaicans know how the sport is played, it's easier to support it that way. So that's kind of what we're doing, especially for lacrosse and hockey, field hockey. We're building a campaign to teach Jamaicans how the sport is played, to better appreciate the Jamaican athletes in those sports. Right.
What is your build out like? I mean, without giving me specific figures, how expensive it is to put together your set, so to speak, to produce all the content that you do?
Well, we kind of have a floating team, and we have to because of the flexibility of media and how things break. So news breaks fast. So we have a setup, we have a studio, and we do that for big productions. We have a couple of shows, the third half, on track, different shows that we produce content about based on the sporting discipline. And then we have smaller, more nimble content that we put out for quick updates and conversations. But in terms of a figure, well, it ranges millions of dollars to put up what we do, and it's growing because stream is growing. Naturally, the resources have to grow as well, and that's why we are in conversations with corporate as well to help them, build out sports and connect sports.
Their way.
Right.
Yeah. What's your team like? What's it in terms of numbers? How many people you have on your team?
We have I would say about. We have a project manager, a photographer. We have 2 photographers. We have a graphic designer. We have a management team as well, which is myself, Conrad Matheson, and Rashid. We have Simon, of course, who plays a journalism role, but he's head of content. We have some offshore writers as well who contribute to writing.
Right.
We have people manage our website as well, and then we share resources with our parent company as well, IPP. So by the direct team is about, I'd say, 12 people, but by extension it's 30 because we have the IPP group. Right.
Where can we find give us the website address and stuff?
So it's 87stream.com. That's the website. All our information, our articles, our e-commerce store is there. We sell jerseys for the Jamaica Talawas, Netball Association, Sunshine Girls. We sell jerseys for Jamaica Basketball, and a couple others. You can go check it out.
So that's 876stream.com.
Right.
And you can find everything there.
Right. And then our Instagram, 876stream, and stream 876 on Twitter, and then 876stream on YouTube.
Right. So outside of the Brazil team, retweeting content from you, what are some of the other outstanding feedback you've gotten from anybody, whether it's an athlete or an organization?
Right. So one of our and how we measure that is based on the impact of the content through other platforms. So I remember when we did Champs, just gone, and we had I think we had interviewed some boys from, was it St. Jago or Exeter? One of them, I don't remember. In the stand, cleaning up the stands. I think Prime Minister had retweeted it or posted it back on their platform.
Oh yeah, I think it was St. Jago.
Right, and that's impact. So it's very easy for the sport itself. Somebody breaks a record, or that's very easy to do. But the things that are not necessarily sport related or affected by sport is what we consider successful. I think those things give more legs to show that, because that brings in sporting and non-sporting people together to say that
video that went really far and wide. I mean, people were talking about it for days.
Right. So it's stuff like that we take pride in, because the sporting thing, it's every day, but it's not often that something that's not necessarily sporting related, but is impacted by stream happens, and that's something that I personally take pride in.
Are there any major events that you'd like to cover, probably in the next 2 to 3 years, that you think would really just set your business, on a different level? Is there anything you're aiming to do that would really just break all of your goals and objectives?
Definitely. So one of our biggest goals is to be associated with the qualification of Jamaica going to the World Cup, the Reggae Boys team. We would definitely, that for me would be a major success, to be the World Cup. We cover them vigorously, almost biasly, almost. And I think Richard King and some other footballers gave us their word that they're going to do their best to qualify.
Yeah, man. Jamaica is due. Jamaica is due to go back to the World Cup.
It's one of the best opportunities being held in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. So one of our biggest, we're looking forward to that, to say that if we can go to the World Cup with the Reggae Boys, that in and of itself is an achievement. And then compete at the World Cup, and we cover that. That would be something that we would take a lot of pride in, definitely.
So to throw you back a little to 1998,
I would have been 3 or 4.
My God. So we played 51 games.
Yes.
Jamaica played 51 games together as a team leading into, and they had a unit. And let me tell you, every time, it doesn't matter where they played, there was just this buzz. You could actually feel, So I think that's the kind of model that we're looking to reproduce. So, we need to fix up the office. We need to do all that kind of thing. Yes. So, 2024, next year, is going to be 25 years since Champs has merged. And in 1999, Jamaica College and St. Jago won boys and girls champs respectively, the first year when it was merged. So, you have some things to look forward to.
Some storytelling to do.
Yes, so you have champs and football. All right, so, just before we go, just on a little academic side, you studied, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, if we go from high school, I was always big in media, but specifically debating. I was the president of the debating society in high school. Then I went to university, UWI, to study journalism.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then through that, journalism kind of merged into marketing because I joined IPP during school, our parent company. Started off as a graphic designer and then a strategist and then, marketing, VP of marketing at IPP, and then they moved me to Stream to say, all right, you developed enough, go build out Stream now.
Go build it out, yeah.
Right. Because Stream was doing well,
Mm-hmm.
before I came, but it needed a commercial aspect to it.
Right.
Somebody to talk to corporate.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought that I was the best person to do that. So that's how it became, a part of Stream.
Any major challenges in terms of, as I said, so you're a streaming entity online, and so you said you don't want to compete, but what are some of the challenges that you may have, come upon? Nothing major, but, how people treat your entity versus, because these things happen.
Well, I would say one of the biggest challenges that we have is because we're not traditional media, we kind of have to work twice as hard to get half the result of something. But that motivates us, though.
Oh, absolutely.
does.
I can imagine.
It does motivate us. We have to build our credibility. While media houses have the credibility of hundreds of years in existence, we have to build our credibility. But I think that tenacity is shown in the team, and that's what brings them and pulls them every day to work. But that what I would say is a challenge, but it's a accolade or a strength for us.
Okay. All right. So you said, what are your plans for this for the rest of the calendar year for 2023?
Right. So we have our campaign called the Summer of Sports, Stream Summer of Sports, where we are covering all the sports that are taking place in the summer, which is Lacrosse World Cup, Gold Cup, netball, hockey Jamaica, CPL, and World Champs, and Reggae Girls World Cup. So we're covering those 7 and possibly some more as well. So what we're doing is putting a strategy together to bring in-depth coverage, content, discussion, entertainment to those 7 specific areas. And then what we're trying to do as well, or our aim is to bring corporate into that conversation, because we're going to get a lot of traction. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, man, 'cause half of these assets, their parents work for one of those companies, or just that alone in itself.
Right. So we're trying to bring corporate into the conversation to say, here's a product that will solve a lot of the problems that you may be having. And it's a great opportunity, because what I do believe, based on the trajectory of the sports that have been happening, we're going to have a champion in one of the 7 things that I've mentioned somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a perfect opportunity, or we're going to do something very extraordinary. So it's a perfect opportunity for corporate to be associated with that. So that's what we're trying to do. We've made great headway in it, and we expect success at the end of the summer. Success would look like, a very good partnership between corporate and sports through Stream.
All right. Well, any athlete or sporting personality that you want to meet, that you think through 876 Stream you'll get to meet in short order?
Well, that's a good question. I would like to meet.
They could be watching, so that's why I ask you.
Right. I'd love to meet the FIFA president.
Oh, that's not hard.
That's not hard. I'd love to have a relationship there.
Okay.
Definitely. I think that shaking hands with those people would be a great step for Stream.
The one thing I want to say about it, Alex, modesty is your hallmark. Well, listen, 876stream.com, and you can find them everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They have a YouTube page, and they have all the fabulous things that you'd want. Simon Preston is a friend, and of course, some of the other team members. Simon is probably one of the greatest researcher in sports that I know. Anything I want to know, I call Simon and ask him, and he has it on the tip of his tongue. All right, guys, so this has been the Sports Exchange. I was talking with Alex Taylor from 876 Stream. And again, another conversation, another week. Join us again next time. Walk good.